Hello. There we go. Good. Okay. Okay, so. That's interesting. How do let's see. Yeah, zoom in. Two. All right, this says 1, 1. Okay, come on. Ooh, stop. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, how about, okay. How about out? No. Back. Back. Oops.
Zoom out a little closer on your face. Get really tight in there.
This is harder than it looks.
I know. I know it's hard. I have no doubt.
It's really ridiculously hard. I don't know why.
We all have our things, man.
Oh my God.
And if you're like trying to teach and be excited, you have to think about, what about here? And how about this? And
Yeah, it's enough to make my ADHD brain go nuts. Have a nice night. Okay, let me see. What if I do that? Can I move that over there? Huh. Okay. Are we getting this? Let's see. Okay, how do I see it? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start because I don't know where you guys are. I'm gonna shut the door, teach to myself. All right, so since I'm in here by myself, I guess I'm going to not wear my mask, but I'll see if anybody comes and I'll put it back on. So I did some work today, and it's finally that time where we're gonna kind of move to that actual practicing these observations and assessments. So when you go to Blackboard, which I'm going to take you to in a minute, you'll see the first assignment, which I have due, I think it's right before winter break. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see it. It's too bad no one's on here because I can't tell if you're hearing it or not, but oh well. All right, so I'm going to go here and call is in progress. Whatever. I don't know what that's about. All right. So it's week 4, and I'm going to open it. I didn't make it open yet because I still have to add some Vivian Paley. But the first assignment from our focus portfolios is in here. And I kind of want to go over that. So your initial assignment is this portfolio. Well, it's really just to get you going on these portfolio, getting them set up. So if you're in a pre-K room, generally those students did 8 portfolios, and toddlers usually do 6. And I was talking to an infant teacher, Jadira, I think you were going to do 5. I think I'm remembering that correctly. So that's what we want to make sure that we're setting up those folders, and these are the forms we're going to do. So I'm going to take you through them. So maybe I'm not if I can't get them to open. Let's see. Open link. No, that's weird. Really? That's fascinating. All right, so I'm going to get my laptop open and be on my thing 2 at a time. Because I know on my laptop I have these saved. Maybe I'll be able to tell if you can hear me or not. Okay. All right, let me do this. I'm gonna stop saving here. Okay, boom. All right. I'm just pulling out my laptop, see if I can get on our class in here. Let's see, Teams. All right. Join. It's probably gonna make a bizarre noise. Let's see, join now. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna turn this off. All right. Hopefully it's still recording my voice. No. Be really annoying if none of this records. Anyway, let me see if I can get, oh, I'm muted. That's fascinating. All right, let me mute over here. I don't really know. Let's see. Mute this one. Unmute this one. That's weird. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Yeah. All right. So on my laptop, I'm pretty sure I can get it to open. I'm going to go to content. I'm going to go to week 4. All right. And I'm going to pull out the portfolios. All right. So this is just the first assignment is to have you, it's actually very easy. And then I am going to get the second one. I started working on the second assignment too, just so you can kind of get, it's a lot of organization. So when I open this form on my laptop, it takes 10 windows. Ta-da! All right. So initially for each of your children, so if you're in pre-K, you're doing 8. If you're into kindergarten, and I'm thinking I don't have anyone doing kindergarten right now, but I could be wrong, do 8. So pre-K and kindergarten, those are 8 kids, 8 different folders. And then toddlers are 6, and I think infants were 5. We can debate that one if we need to. So the favorites collection form, this is really right about getting to know the children, getting to know their families, kind of just getting to know their likes, dislikes, who are their family, etc. So when you're starting this portfolio, it's really easy. You're going to just like be observing each child and maybe taking a photo of them doing their favorite thing, or taking a photo if they're if they love building with blocks, take a photo of their block building. So favorites is the first one. Then we're going to go over here and let's check out the friends form. So since one of our domains of childhood is definitely to be looking at who their friends are, you want to, make note of their social emotional relationships within the classroom. I think friends can be like, maybe they have friends from different classrooms when they're outside. That's great stuff to document too. My kids, I had 4 kids, so their friends, my youngest 2 were in a classroom together and they were inseparable. So I think it's really good to kind of share that, and it's good. You should know which kids are kind of friends in a class. And so it should be fun and low stakes, right? So then if I go back to the original Blackboard, family. So I'm hoping most classrooms will have photos of the family, and this won't be a big ask for you. There was a time when our center was just starting when they didn't have family photos. You could take, I think you can use your phone. You know how my students are always adept at taking photos of documents. So you can take photos of the family photos and just create that in your portfolio. So you don't have to recreate those. You don't have to get families to pose together, okay? If that isn't there, you could try to take one maybe when they get dropped off. It's really nice if you can have all of their family in the photos so that you know who each person's important people are, their caregivers. It's a good thing to know when you're understanding who your children are in your classroom. All right, then, so we did favorites, friends, and family. And then there are these 2 forms that I'm telling you somehow students have a hard time with them because they're they're not that hard, but people do have a hard time. So it's kind of like a table of contents. So when you start to like maybe do an anecdotal record, or you do a physical developmental checklist, you can kind of make note of that. This is like table contents. You also, as a teacher, right, you don't want to always be doing all of your observations in one domain, because we have to look at children from the whole perspective. So this chart kind of makes sure that for each child that you are getting a sense of all the domains, okay? So this is one of those sheets that you have for the whole class, so sometimes we'll do class list logs, I call them. And this would be one of those forms where you can be like, okay, today we're going to do drop-offs, which is like maybe social emotional, because you want to see how is their attachment, how is their transition to the classroom? Is it, do they have someone they're kind of bonded with that they could transition to, et cetera. And then let's see. This other one, though, goes in the file when you're creating. I think I'm going to take the collected documentation form off because it's more of the whole class, and I mistakenly put that on. So recording individualized. This was described. My mouse is not working with me. I don't know. There we go. I have too many different screens. All right, so this is your table of contents. Now, in the book, in our textbook, it says like put this on the outside of your form. That's okay if you don't. But so like you would put this as the first sheet, and it kind of tells you that what date did you did it? What date did you gather it? So it said on the one in the book, it said fall and spring. But since we're already, we're not going to have the students for the full year, you're going to do it as the very early on and then spring, later in spring, like May. So some of these you won't do for both, but it's good to look and see like how often do toddlers change their favorite thing? How often do toddlers do does this individual toddler do they stay with the same friend? Maybe it's kind of, maybe people are moving a lot. It can be kind of interesting to see how that changes. So this would be like your first sheet in each folder, or you could put it on the outside of the folder, okay? So those are the main things. I will make sure I take off that one documentation record. We're gonna use it in the next module that I'll open up hopefully in the next couple of days, so that you can I think you need a global view of where we're going with these portfolios, because sometimes, you really have to work to be able to fit them in, especially if you guys are working full time in the classroom or just going in between different classrooms. I know some of you are like one of Josh is subbing, but then doing a lot of his stuff in a pre-K room. So some of that takes a lot of juggling, and you kind of got to know, what do I have to do? And sometimes maybe you have to do it out of order. I don't know. Some of these, though, especially if you're already in the room, you'll kind of know, and you can probably just do them without doing new things, because I'm pretty sure, like any of you, like Jasmine, Taryn, I'm thinking Jadira, a lot of you're going to know these kids and their favorites, right? So you can fill those things out. You might have photos already of them and who their friends are. Family collection, if those are posted, and they really, best practice, developmentally appropriate practice, is having photos of the family for our children, right? Sometimes infants might not have it, but honestly, sometimes they do. They just have it lower so the children can see it at eye level if they're laying on the ground. But it's also good if you do have subs. You should have photos of the parents who pick up anyway, so that we know who's coming. That's not always the reason we put it up sometimes, but it is a good reason to put photos up. All right, so this is the first thing you're going to do is, many of you, I think I only met with one person. Well, Jasmine and I tried to meet today, but the internet had other plans. So we're going to have to meet again. But we started a document on Google Doc where I put her kind of like she had done a journal of goals, and then I put that, and then she kind of put in her draft of her goals. And I posted that in this Google Doc and shared it with her. And then we're kind of working through what's going to work that's more for 242. But part of that assignment is to do an introduction letter to the parents, right? So I need to approve your introduction letter. So if you haven't done that, that's one of the things. You got to get the introduction letter done. And if you're in 242, you also got to get those goals and objectives approved, because the next thing I'm going to want you to do is to meet with your mentor teacher to discuss your goals, because we want this to be productive, and everybody's goals may be different. Some of you have more hands-on experience than others. Some of you will fine-tune, like some of you, I've had students who have been already working in the field who are like, I really need to work on my guidance. maybe my transition, maybe I thought Jasmine had a really good idea that she wanted to really kind of dive into the developmentally appropriate practice. And I used to, in toddlers, infants and toddlers, have students do an ITERS, which is a really great assessment for infants and toddler rooms. And so I'm going to have Jasmine do that of her classroom, and she can kind of figure out where in the classroom, because it's not just, yes, we want our teachers to be doing developmentally appropriate things too, you know, that's totally accurate. But you also need to make sure your environment is developmentally appropriate for your age range. And then you can kind of, you know, match kind of your curricula and the way you talk and everything. But there's also things in the ITERS that helps with that. So that's an excellent goal. When students have put down, you know, like guidance and things, then there's other things we can work on with that. But for this specific assignment, this is just to get you started on your portfolios. So it's a sticking your toes in the water, okay? Because the next one we're actually going to do, we're going to take that form I'm going to take off of this one, the one called the collected documentation record, and you're going to put down your kids you've agreed to observe for this semester. You're going to put those names down, and then you want to be able to, you're going to have to choose which one you can actually pull off. So it's a social emotional kind of thing. We're going to do, I think it's called, we're going to look at their drop-offs or pickups, and then or you can look at kind of lunchtime kind of stuff and see how they do with some of those transition times. And from those observations, seeing how they do, you will choose one or two to write like an anecdotal record. So it's going to get more complicated. It's going to be fun. Sure it is. So first you have to get your introduction letter. I know a lot of the parents, a lot of you are already in classrooms, so I think that's great, but you should still tell parents that you're working on this project because they might help you out. You know, if you need a photo or if you need, you know, whatever, they might be able to help you out. But it's also good just to share that you are working on your education to become a better teacher. I think parents, I know that parents, and when I was teaching, parents like that, I'm not moving, so they turn the lights off. I can't believe this. All right, woo. Okay, so paper folders. I think some of you will do better just because it's easier to maneuver all of this to take paper folders with you. But I also decided I'll show you as much as you can see it when I stop sharing my screen. I made a binder, a mini binder to do, I wanted to start portfolios for Jason, just for practice, so we could kind of capture things and see what we can gather from what Vivian is seeing there. So you might want to try the binder thing because it's not that hard. I think that sometimes the manila folders, like if you drop them, things fall out. I've had, and the thing I like about it is you can still like turn the pages. Sometimes when I've gotten the manila folders that are more like pocket folders, you have to pull everything out, and you know, that's, with the binder, at least they kind of stay in the order. You can put them in the date that you put them in. All right, so this is actually very simple. And I am going to take that one item off, but I'll do it when I go home. So that's your first assignment, and that is due February 21st. Now, some of you, like Taryn is not, she's on maternity leave, so she is not going to do that until April, which is okay. So let me move my computer over there. I'm done with that. So I wanted to show you that I think you can go ahead and do a binder. That might actually be easier. I was hoping some of you would come because I would help you set it up. So I bought those plastic little dividers, okay? And my first one, because we are doing this, by the way, I think we should be doing this. So this is my JSON folder. And then when you go inside, it says recording individual Recording individual child observations. So as I'm reading the Vivian Paley book, I'm going to document obviously what's Jason's favorite thing? It's helicopters. So we're going to do that. Who's his friends? Well, so I'm going to actually say that it's a little bit like he's very not socially, he's not really, I don't know if I would say he has friends yet. I think the teacher is hoping that that's going to change. He kind of holds himself a little separate. And now this is a kindergarten classroom. One of the things we're going to review, I'm going to be posting content. It used to be in the textbook, but it was just this gigantic mammoth of a textbook. So I want to make sure that I can have you, we're going to review the play, stages of play, and we'll do little observations with play. And we have students doing all the range, really birth to, I don't think we have kindergarten. I think we have birth to pre-K. So I want to make sure you have those stages of play for each thing. But Jason, you know, when they're in kindergarten, he's really doing kind of this onlooker play that's more of a almost toddler thing. Okay. And I mean, we really want him to be moved. You could maybe make an argument that he's doing associative or parallel play, maybe parallel play, but we want him to actually be doing cooperative play. So be more like engaged in the activities in the classroom, which I'm thinking that's where we're going with. I actually know that's where we're going because I've read the book before. So I have that, and I'm going to start capturing that. Because Paley is so good with language and literacy, I'm also going to make sure that I put in this folder, and I'll be sharing it with you, of course, some of the language assessments and ways to document the stories to see how the stories evolve. Okay. And the way she does stories in the classroom is going to be something we're going to observe to see how he changes from an onlooker bystander to being immersed in the stories of his friends. They do become, I think, you know, it's interesting. What I love about Paley is that she never excludes him. And too often teachers are like, well, if you're not going to do that, now you go over there. We're going to keep going, but you're outside. And she is very intentionally trying to constantly draw him in or include him, even though he's holding himself outside. There's not that like kind of almost punitive treatment of him because he's not conforming to whatever norms that she's setting up for stories. So this book, though, doesn't give us a ton of information about Jason's family or any of maybe some of the kids' family. We know some of the kids do have new siblings, I believe. I'm reading 3 different Paley books at this moment, so it's like hard to keep track of them. But I have a folder. I've started a section for Lily, and I have a section for Katie, and I think it's Josh. I just didn't put his name in there. So I will have the most information in Jason's, but I'm going to kind of go back through those first 50 pages and kind of try to start capturing and creating a portfolio for Jason from what's there. Now, some of the journals and things that I've assigned were meant to kind of be doing that. So I might even be able to go into your assignments and be like, oh, I'm going to capture that. I'm going to put that there. And I have been impressed with some of the reflections I've been seeing. I, of course, share Vivian so often with my students because I'm really hoping that more and more people will take that risk of including that story time, story play, storytelling, story acting, that whole process that Vivian really immerses students in. And I think it's really just such a gift to provide children with those experiences. So, but it's also like not the way Vivian is able to unstructure her time is not always how public schools tend to. There's a lot of pressure on teachers to really 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. We're going to do this for 15 minutes, you know? And you really always have to balance out what your mission is, your hope for children and what you want to give children, and what you're being told you have to do by the administration. So I will be posting more Jason, more of Paley and the helicopter to find out what's going to go on with that. But this, I wanted to go over that one assignment, and I need to meet with everybody to make sure that your portfolios are set up and to make sure that the different age groups that you have the observation assessments and things that you need. And so I don't know. I know nobody came today, and that is your option with this high flex approach. But that's about where I'm at. I was really hoping to more individualize and talk about people's experiences in the classroom. So I'm not going to stay and make things up at this time, but please make an appointment with me. I know I've touched base. Well, Hayla missed her appointment. I'm sure we'll reschedule. Make sure you make one with me. And Jasmine, like I said, the internet had different ideas. So we got to get that on the books. And we're going to start diving in. There's going to be there should be about 4 modules. We're going to try to finish up Paley in the next few weeks. I am going to try to go light the week of the winter break because there's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. So I'm going to get the next module posted, which is going to kind of go into social emotional stuff that you're going to be doing and well, actually, what is it? It's behavioral observations, which kind of had to do with transition, and that has an emotional social component. And then there's physical development checklists. So that's like the first chunk of observations. So it's going to get a little meatier. I just have to create those, and it's like I have to take documents, scan them, take them from being a PDF to a Word doc so that you can put your information on them. It's a little complicated, so get those posted. So the first thing, like I said, I want to see those portfolios created by February 21st, before that winter break. I want to get all the Vivian stuff kind of that we're going to do with that book up and running, hopefully by the middle of March. Get that done, right? Maybe the beginning of March. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to go fast. And then the next module, which is more of it's a little bit more involved. I'll probably give you 2 to 3 weeks to do those. I'll map it out for you. But I want to get them posted and kind of like when are they going to be due? And I will open them, but I will still have weeks so you have markers to like guide your time. But then if you want to go ahead, because I know some of you do, just so you can breathe easier, I will have them open. But I'm still going to stagger their due dates out so that people who are trying to do it as I post it can do it. And like I said, Taryn's going to start hers more once she comes back from her maternity leave. So we're all going to be at different places, but we still need to show up and discuss and share experiences, even if it's live. Probably this week, I'm going to have to do some kind of discussion or something just so I can make sure, people are maybe sharing what they're working on. The other piece that I want you to think about is the visual portfolio. So I started playing around with Google Docs. I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, I have my binder portfolio for Jason, but then I'm going to create, I think like Jason will have like a PowerPoint that I can keep editing and add things to, and then each child will get like, that'll be their folder of what that stuff looks like. So you do, some of that is technical and annoying, and you don't want to wait until the thing is due to be trying to figure out how you're going to do that. And you may need help. So probably if you haven't worked with Google Docs, we should also try to work on that. So, all right, if you have questions, let me know. I don't want to teach this course to 10 different people at 10 different times, right? So make sure if you have questions, maybe, and everybody has the same question, maybe I'll do a mini video about that. But next week, I will probably speak to more of the next module and tying together what we're reading in Paley to like observations for language and stuff. We are going to the developmental checklists. I'm just trying to make sure that I have, the right age group for everybody. And then I also have a checklist that works for your just a general observation of where they are with their physical skills. But there's also a really nice like list of skills that kids kind of have at each different age, and it's much less broad than the checklist, so it's more involved, and I'm going to try to share some of those too. All right, let me know if you have questions with the first assignment. So I want you to have a physical portfolio system for your observations, and make sure you have the things printed out and the copies you need. And then also, how are you going to be able to share it with me if, as a digital document? And I think that it's important right now in this time to have that, so that a lot of things, meetings now with parents and with colleagues are digital. So we need to know how to create them, and we need to know how to share them. And it's an important skill for us to have. So, all right, those are your foods for thought for the week, and I hope to hear from you. We do have meetings that we need to have for 242, kind of combining those. So make sure you get in touch with me and make those appointments. All right. Thank you. Take care.